But this week we are bringing to you a presentation about Apple. And more importantly, we're going to try to hit on something that the Wall Street Journal hit on a few weeks ago now, probably, which is why do people buy Apple products when they're so expensive? So there's Steve Jobs. He's usually what we think of when we think of Apple. He was the chairman, CEO, and co-founder of Apple. He's also a little eclectic in his background. So he was adopted by his parents, and he was a college dropout. And he's known today as a pioneer of the microcomputer. And he just recently died in 2011 from a battle with pancreatic cancer. After Steve Jobs has passed, the current CEO is Tim Cook. It's the world's 9th largest company based on revenue alone. Their stock ticker is AAPL, and they recently renamed themselves from Apple Computers to Apple Inc., basically to show their growth from computers onto the new technologies that they're pursuing today.
If you look at the general trend of Apple stock, it does increase. So while there are dips, there are low points, the high points are much bigger. So Apple is continuing an upward trend, and some people are predicting that it's going to continue to grow this way, despite the recent drop in value.
If you look up here, you can see that they're specifically known for this platform that they've built, where they're able to allow people who own content and who develop apps to come meet in one place with consumers, where they can exchange, they can buy, and they take a profit out of that. Small profit, but when it occurs a lot, that adds up, obviously. And you want to kind of start to think of Apple as having their own, if we could call this an ecosystem, right? So they sell you their hardware, because everybody wants their hardware, whether it be a MacBook, whether it be an iPhone, or whether it be the new AirPods. They sell you their hardware, they get you into that way first. Then they provide you with an operating system and an application software that is unparalleled. The only other competition they have in regards to that is Microsoft's. And to really rein everything in and to not let you go anywhere else, they have, obviously what we all know as iCloud, which achieves what we call data lock-in. So instead of your data going somewhere else, they have access to all of that whenever they want, at the snap of a finger. So they're very diversified when it comes to the products that they sell. And they develop their own systems, their own hardware, their own application software, and their own services. So they're not relying on anybody. They are able to innovate and come up with their own products by themselves. And these increased profits that come from not relying on anybody help them invest in further research and development and marketing and advertising. Now, this is just a little summary of their most recent profits from Q3 of 2016 to Q3 of 2017. And it sort of breaks down where specifically they're making their most money and what they're selling the most of. Obviously, they sell their phones the most more than anything else, but they also sell their Macs and their iPods are their second and third highest products. The watch isn't that much, but with the new SIM card being in the watch, a lot of people are saying that might end up overtaking a Mac or an iPad. I don't know. But that will be something very interesting to start looking towards. And this is probably the most interesting part that I have for you guys. Apple is sitting on a huge amount of cash. They have about $256 billion in cash just laying around and don't have anything to do with it. Can you imagine that, having $256 billion and not knowing what to do with it? So a lot of this money isn't here in America. It's all overseas due to tax purposes. But a lot of these banks and a lot of private equity firms, they look at Apple and they think, one way or another, they're going to start to acquire firms. They're going to start to put together acquisitions, mergers. I mean, we've heard recently that they thought about doing a car. We don't really know if that's going to happen. That's a little speculation. But they have so much money, they could buy anyone they want. It's not even a question.
But the theory, which was developed by Thorstein Veblen about 100 years ago, is the idea that people buy these as status symbols. If they want to show off how much money they have, they want to show off how sophisticated they are, how much power or influence they have. They want people to know this, so they buy them. And this occurred as more products become commonplace. So once people started to buy cars, and everybody had a car ownership became ubiquitous, companies started to pitch this idea to consumers that, hey, everybody has a car. If you want to seem special, you need to buy this expensive car that we can charge more money for. And they have other features that they pitch, but the idea is that you buy this expensive car to show you have a lot of money and you want people to know that. So why do people buy Apple? So one reason is brand loyalty. They were one of the first people to one of the first big smartphone makers, when Steve Jobs pitched it about 10 years ago as a revolutionary device. That brought a lot of people in. And as you can see here, 92% of iPhone users stick with the brand. So once you got hooked 10 years ago, you haven't switched your phone. You kept buying iPhones. So that's one reason why people continue to buy Apple. The synergies between products, that Apple ecosystem Kai was talking about. They get you with the iPhone, and they get you with the Mac, and they get you with iCloud, and then you just can't leave because all your stuff's there. And then, as I said before, it's a preview device. So people who have the money to buy it, they like to buy it to show they have money. And then they have a high customer satisfaction rate. For the most recent period, for last year that the study was conducted, the iPhone SE and the iPhone 7 Plus were 1 and 2 respectively for customer satisfaction. So people like using these phones. So they don't want to leave because they like using them and they're loyal to the brand.
So we have a few discussion questions that we want you guys to think about, and we're going to try to facilitate this conversation and maybe play devil's advocate with a few of these questions.